Anonymous asks, what is your view of class action lawsuits? Is it a good thing that they exist? What about cases where big numbers of people are getting like $20 checks for some harm that allegedly befell them? Is that something courts should deal with? And adding to the question, there's a Safeway judgment that sent him 20 bucks. What about that specific one? So yes, class action lawsuits are a reasonable thing because sometimes companies harm a lot of people a small amount. So we don't need one lawsuit per person. That wouldn't make sense. However, the amount of money in total is meaningful, and some people get larger settlements than others. So, for example, in the Safeway lawsuit, where Anonymous got 20 bucks, the average amount of money someone got, I looked at this a while ago, I think it was more like $200. So that's like real money for some people. Safeway had to pay, I don't see the actual number on this website. I think they might have changed the website. Oh wait, FAQs. Okay, so Safeway had to pay 100% of the amount that they overcharged people. They really did overcharge people, and they have records of it. So they actually have in their computer system, what people ordered, what they got charged, etc. And for various deliveries, when they did grocery delivery, they were overcharging people on some items by a reasonably small amount of money. But it added up to like $40 million or something. And so Safeway paid out like the amount that they overcharged people, and then people in the class are getting back approximately 98% of the money they were overcharged because a little bit was lost for overhead. So people actually get back the amount they were overcharged. It's completely reasonable. Anonymous was only overcharged like 20 bucks, so it's not a big deal to him, but why shouldn't he get his 20 bucks back? Like, it's not a bad thing that he got his money back because he was actually overcharged that much money. And sending him the $20 took approximately zero extra effort. Like, they already were setting up to send out checks to people, and they were already looking through the data and everything. So it wasn't like it took extra work. They were already doing a process that could deal with many people at once. So they might as well include people like who are not involved in a big way, but they were involved. Also, they let you opt out if you want to do your own lawsuit separately. So that's completely reasonable and makes sense. I don't see what Safeway has to complain about. I think maybe class action lawsuits have a bad reputation because some of them, it's unclear that like that class was actually harmed significantly. Like some of them maybe should not exist. Like there have been a bunch of class action lawsuits against Apple because some product did not work quite perfectly or something. And I'm like, the product's pretty good. I think it works roughly as advertised. It doesn't look like fraud to me. There's a refund period if you want to return stuff. I don't really see the problem. I don't think they deserve to be sued. Like there are certainly lawsuits that I think are, should not succeed. But there are certainly also cases where there was actual harm done and it's measurable and real and whatever. And this is one of those cases. Like Safeway advertised certain prices or whatever and then charged people different prices. I don't know exactly why or if there was malice or what happened. I haven't really looked into it, but it seems completely legitimate and like they deserve to be sued and deserve to pay the money out. And almost all of the paid money is going to the people who were harmed, not the lawyers. The lawyers and the people who are doing all the paperwork and whatever are getting like 2% or something. And the people who are hurt are getting like 98%, and that seems pretty reasonable. That's a good overhead. Like a lot of nonprofits, they use 30% or maybe even more on overhead. And I find that a bit questionable, but that's apparently normal. Anyways, 2% is very good overhead. Can't complain. So I'm going to look at the question again. Right, so there's a mention of harm allegedly befalling them. So certainly sometimes there's no harm, and then yes, the courts can just decide that there wasn't harm. And it's good that the courts can decide like for a bunch of people at once rather than case by case. Like individual cases don't need to be adjudicated separately. It would take too much court effort when the individual cases are very, very similar. And Anon doesn't really say what he thinks is wrong with class action lawsuits. So if he gave more specific arguments about why they're bad, I could respond to those. So if you want to ask a follow-up question with some specific argument I didn't answer, that would be fine. But I'm done for now.